Our American way of life. Isn't it grand? Peace, freedom, and bacon and eggs.
Hello crows and non-crows alike, my name is Joe Mac, otherwise known as Support Crow, and today, I've got some Fallout news for you. On April 12th, the Amazon adaptation of Fallout releases, and to accompany alongside that, Bethesda has been kind enough to present the Fallout Special Anthology. The full video game collection of the Fallout franchise, a $120 value for the price of $60, half off. If you're ready to nuke some super mutants and drink gallons of Nuka-Cola, then feel free to click the link down below to pre-order your anthology today. You know, the Fallout franchise might be unknown to you, and you might be kind of on the fence about this. It is a franchise that consists of many different types of games, and, you know, I wouldn't blame you for being a bit cautious. How about we break it down and you can decide for yourself if this is worth the value.
Seems perfect. But what if it's not?
In the special anthology collection, you get the original Fallout, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics. The first three games of the Fallout franchise feature a trimetric perception style of gameplay. And although it might look a little dated, I've had a few people tell me that it has some of the best writing in the entire franchise. And it can be argued that you can't get any more Fallout than the original Fallout. You also get Fallout 3, the Game of the Year edition. Fallout 3 is the Fallout game that I personally started off with, so I might be a bit biased when I say that it's my favorite, you know, a close second being Fallout New Vegas. And although it might be a little gritty, it definitely has a special place in my heart. But enough about my sentimentality. If you want to go fighting super mutants and creating your own character and exploring a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland in Washington, D.C., then yeah, this would be a great game for you, you know. It is definitely one of my favorite games of all time, and if you and I share the same taste in video games, chances are you're going to love Fallout 3. But it's not just the base game you're going to get with this. You also have all the DLC included, such as Operation Anchorage, where you enter a military training simulation and get to participate in one of the more defining moments in Fallout history. There's also the Pit, where you get to travel to a post-apocalyptic Pittsburgh and become embroiled in a conflict between slaves and their masters. Then you got Point Lookout, which is a personal favorite of mine, where you embark on a mysterious adventure to a very murky swampland out in Maryland. It's very creepy, very unsettling, and right up my alley. Then you have Mothership Zeta, which is a bit more silly, but hey, I adored it too. You essentially get abducted by aliens and you gotta fight your way through the mothership in order to get back down to the capital wasteland. There's even a death ray that you can fire. And lastly, for Fallout 3, you have Broken Steel, which is basically just an epilogue, more or less, that comes after the main quest of the game. Main mission, you know, is Fallout. Coming up next, you have the fan favorite Fallout New Vegas, the Ultimate Edition. You get to visit the Las Vegas Strip, or at least what's left of it, in the Fallout universe. Now this game is actually developed by Obsidian Entertainment, which you'll probably know from The Outer Worlds and the upcoming Avowed game. But in this case, you are a courier that sort of had the unfortunate luck of being embroiled in some bigger plans. The reviews for this game is overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and even if you decide not to get the Anthology collection, I greatly recommend that you at least try out Fallout New Vegas just for yourself. But again, this is the Ultimate Edition, which means it has its own slew of DLC included also, such as Gunrunner's Arsenal, which includes new weapons and ammo types and recipes. Then there's Courier Stash, which is basically just a pre-order bonus from back when the game was coming out. You get that included, and that essentially comes with just a bunch of in-game inventory that you can have access to as you start the game. However, there's plenty of bigger DLC that are a bit more notable than that, such as Lonesome Road, which has you take a journey through something called the Divide, a hurricane-swept canyon of death and destruction, more or less. It's a bad time. I do not recommend starting out with that one. Then again, you do you. Then there's Old World Blues, which is bizarre, to say the least. You are essentially abducted to a research facility. Again, with the abduction, I don't know. Anyway, you're And immediately the first thing people do when you get there, you're kind of unconscious, they take your brain, and essentially your mission throughout that whole DLC is to find your brain and put it back in your skull. So it's like a Dragon's Dogma situation, but instead of a heart, it's your brain. Anyway, next you have Honest Hearts, which takes place in the wilderness of Utah. Of course, it goes horribly wrong when your caravan is ambushed by a local raiding tribal band. You become embroiled between a war between tribes, and ultimately your decisions decide the fate of Utah. The last one has mixed reviews. Some people hate it, some people love it. It is definitely a very niche DLC, and it is called Dead Money. Essentially, there's a casino, and within said casino is just like this legendary treasure. And you become the unwilling participant in trying to get that treasure out of the casino. And unfortunately, the only way to get out of this with your head intact is to sort of follow through with the plan. The last of the single player games included with this Anthology collection is Fallout 4, the Game of the Year edition. But then you get the base game where you get to enjoy this very opening sequence where you are enjoying normal life with your family, and then the bombs come and it ruins everybody's life. And as you're trying to survive that, you get locked into like a cryostasis kind of thing. Your wife gets shot and your child is kidnapped essentially. And when you finally are freed from your situation, your quest then becomes to go and find your child in this post-apocalyptic Boston, Massachusetts. And it features something quite new for the Fallout franchise, settlement building. And to supplement this settlement building, you have a number of DLC, mainly the Wasteland Workshop and the Contraptions Workshop, which adds a whole bunch of different stuff and gadgets and gizmos and all kinds of cool things for you to customize and creatively do whatever you want with your settlement, allowing you to build and protect your settlement from all kinds of dangerous enemies. There's also a third workshop called Vault Tech Workshop, which allows you the ability to build a vault. Personally, I wasn't into that kind of thing, but hey, you do you. Now for the more legit DLC, you have a few options to choose from, or, well, if you get the collection, you can have it all. The first being Automatron, Automatron was very cool, actually. In this DLC, you're fighting against someone called the Mechanist, who builds robots and is trying to essentially rid the world of you. To put it plainly, you're seen as the Mechanist's antagonist, right? And you got a couple options. Either you can just sort of continually deal with being attacked by all these robots, or you can go and find the Mechanist and deal with that person there. The next DLC is my personal favorite, Fallout 4 Far Harbor. You travel off the coast of Maine, so it's kind of like Point Lookout. You take a boat and you travel off to a very foggy, mysterious island, and there's a bunch of creepy stuff going around. You have a colony of synths that are just trying to learn to be people. You have a colony of cult dwellers that just sort of want to be irradiated and want the world to be irradiated also. So that's kind of unique. And then you got, average people in the pier of Far Harbor, right? Just trying to survive. To be honest, in my first playthrough, I kind of accidentally murdered everyone. I kind of blew up the cultists, and I accidentally led the fishermen people to murder the synths, and I accidentally turned off some fan things that led the local monsters of the island to murder and butcher everyone on the pier. I didn't know what I was doing. Detective Valentine was not happy with me. Anyway, the last of this DLC is Fallout 4 Nuka World. You get to go to the Nuka World theme park. I didn't think a Fallout themed theme park would be so enjoyable. There are different sections of the park, and it's inhabited by raiders. So, first off, you get to choose whether or not you're going to be like the leader of the raiders, or you're going to try to lead the slaves that are there into some form of rebellion. But after that, you get to explore all these different areas of the theme park. You have like a sci-fi version, and you got like a kids park, and you got like an animal zoo park situation, and then you got like this Nuka World, this Nuka-Cola bottling facility thing, which has like a water park tour. You get a new companion out of it. It's really cool. I enjoyed it. You get some really funny dialogue here and there. Speaking of, Fallout 4 has a voiced protagonist, and while that wasn't everyone's cup of tea, I did have a lot of fun with those sarcastic remarks. And last but not least, unless you prefer single-player games, you have Fallout 76. Essentially being a distant cousin of the Elder Scrolls Online, you can kind of think of Fallout 76 more or less the same way. It is a multiplayer game where you and your friends get to explore West Virginia, and as you are traversing Appalachia, you get to, have your Fallout journey. There are dungeons, you get to build camps, you can even fire off a few nukes if you want to. However, I do want to point out that this collection does not come with any items, which is an in-game currency more or less for Fallout 76. It also doesn't come with a Fallout First monthly subscription. A wasted opportunity in my opinion. You could have given them, that 1 month subscription and, let them test it out a little bit. And now, do I think this is a good deal? Absolutely. You're getting the entire Fallout universe for basically half the price you would if you bought it all separately. That being said, it is an investment, not only on your wallet, but also on your hard drive and your personal time. Think it over, maybe rewatch this video. As for me, I'm already a huge Fallout fan. Buying this collection would just be a waste of money. I'd really just be doing it for the mini nuke. However, if you are looking for nuked out worlds to discover, then this is right up your alley. I look forward to seeing you in the capital wasteland. Until then though, be safe, be well, be kind. Bye-bye.